Yo, it's your girl Jay. So, I've been noticing a lot of things lately. So, I've noticed in particular that female MCs and rappers don't get the views that they should. And I mean by this, it's the rappers like Shay Noir, Rhapsody, those sort of females do not get the views. And I think it's a damn shame. Now, I understand that, with evolution, when we went back in time, my favourite female MC that I heard off the bat that got me hooked onto female rappers was Roxanne Shante, and then I heard MC Light, then Queen Latifah, and then, it just sort of went on from there. It was like Rah Digger, yeah, and we had like, Maya X, Lady of Rage. Those females were dope, man. And they're still doing their thing to this day, but people, they just don't notice, Come on, come on. Let's support our females a lot more, yeah? And then I just heard more and more females like Baha Media. You don't really hear much about her, but she was dope back in the day. So those sort of females were really prevalent. And, from the B-boy fly girl era, there was a lot of females that were part of the crews. And when I come to the UK, there was like the Wee Papa girl rappers. There was a Cookie crew, and they were sort of doing their thing. They were doing their rounds on the scene. And obviously we saw Salt and Pepper, sort of more commercial type of hip hop, female rappers and MCs and groups. So they were a lot more sort of commercialized. And then we sort of saw a little change in the, the way female rappers were perceived. We had Little Kim, Foxy Brown. They made it sort of look sexy. And I think that's where the tide turned, maybe. Tell me your opinion. Then we had like Nicki Minaj. I'm sure they influenced a lot of females coming up. So Nicki Minaj sort of kicked it off with the newer age of female rappers, and then Cardi B followed. Then we had like the Ice Spices, Megan Thee Stallion, the Sexy Reds, which, I'm sort of seeing these sort of females are saturating the industry, and they're very commercial. And you do have like Doechii that sort of, that they tip the balance, sexy, but they have something to say. But I think, we all know sex sells. We all know that. And it's always been an imbalance in hip hop where, men have dominated hip hop for a very long time. But from back in the day, we had females with substance, they had something to say in their music, and they were sexy, even though they weren't like today's type of sexy, where I'm assuming that's why a lot of these females get the views, because of the superficial, nature of what, they look like, having to be sexy, having to appeal visually, the beauty standards that they set in the music industry. You hear a lot of females saying, like Rhapsody, she said herself that she was sort of told to be more sexy. Why should you? Why should you, sort of sell your integrity and your soul just to, make it in the business? So that's really sad, because we have females with pen game that are decent coming through, and they're trying to come up. Shay Noir is one of the hardest working females in the business, I think, but she still doesn't get the views. Like I say, Rhapsody, we've got this new girl that I just covered, Neptune 21. We've got conscious females coming up that have been around and just go under the radar because they're not considered, beautiful or sexy. And that's really sad, because, that just means a lot of decent female rappers aren't getting, noticed, aren't getting airplay, aren't getting the views, aren't influencing a new generation of females. It's all the sort of Cardi B's and, Megan's, no disrespect, because they have their niche and their fan base, and I don't want to disrespect that, but we need less of that and more substance. Tell me if you agree. Tell me who your favourite female MCs were back in the day, who they are now. I was like on the Roxanne Shante thing, the real Roxanne. Back in the day, all them sort of females over and MC Light, they influenced me, and I'm glad they did, because, I realised women had something between their ears and not always between their legs. I'm saying? They had more to offer. And I just hope it sort of, it sort of changes and evolves back to where women have deeper messages to say in their music. So tell me what you think. Why do you think? Do you think it is literally what I'm thinking, that it's all about the sexiness of the females that are getting the views, and the fact that they're so commercialized as well, not underground? They're not doing like the underground scene. Is that it? Is it because of the change in the industry's pushing, the superficiality in the business? Give me some comments down below. What do you think? And who did you rate back in the day? Who do you think is decent now? Who's your favourite female MC? We do need to highlight the females. We always talk about men and the male, goats, and the amazing, men in hip hop and 100% kings, respect. But we also need to sort of give flowers to the females that have been doing their thing for years, and, they're still working twice as hard to get some kind of, to get noticed and to get that sort of accolade that the men get in the business. So we just need to push that. I know it's a lot of males are taking a lot of females under the wing, like 38 Special, alongside Shay Noir, who always supports her, and we need more of that. We need more men pushing the females and supporting them and helping them as much as the young men that are coming up. Anyway, guys, tell me what you think. Put some comments down below. I hope you're having a good one, whatever you're doing in the world, whatever time zone you're in. I've got nothing left to say, but peace. And I'm sorry about the lighting. You know me, I like my natural lighting, so up and down. It's just the way it goes over here in the UK. Anyway, take care. Have a good one. Peace.